Greetings, wonderful denizens of the interwebs. I'm Lord Akantos. Welcome back to Stasis. Last time we managed to blow up the airlock door here, and now let's enter and see what we'll find. Oh, wow, this is getting fucked up creepy. Even more. These almost look like aliens looking at them like these. The heads look a bit too big and... Okay, let's start looking around the room. Counterclockwise, that's a good direction. There's a hybrid strapped down, frighteningly thin creature, courtesy of Kane Corporation. Protective plastic sheeting spans many of the operating bays, not for modesty purposes, but to limit the splatter range. Yeah. Of course, some machinery has been shut off and tucked out of the way. Another one strapped down. It's moving, but seems to be unaware of its surroundings. Or it could simply have accepted its fate. Maybe. The machine attached to the drip is on and configurable, although it is far from ready to use. A withered hybrid. Both bodies barely show signs of life. This one's a tiny one. It is tiny, clinging onto life by only the finest thread. It is not a pleasant sight to watch, something so small on the fine line between life and death. A lot of blood here as well. Don't see any equipment or anything else here. There's an emaciated, starving organism. This body has wasted away to little more than sinew. Bone mending glue, a tube of quick drying bone adhesive. We can take that, it seems. A healthy organism. The creature strains at its bindings. It seems healthy, though judging by the fury in its eyes, it's far from pleased. No shit. What life form wouldn't be? Oh, there's also an area transition this way. Further. Health, flammability, reactivity. There's some sort of not sure what all this stuff is here. Some sort of an info thing maybe about stuff in this place. Anyway, let's continue. Yeah, this looks like their backs are conjoined hybrid fused at the spine. It appears immobile, but its heads frequently scan the room. That would be a horrible fate. I mean, imagine that you're not even like next to each other, but you're basically on the opposite sides. The twin valve fluid drainage system is a smart piece of design, keeping the two fluids separate. This terminal we can interact with. And then one hybrid on the floor. It has fallen from the operating table only to crawl around in aimless peregrination, no doubt delirious. The room design wisely included two fluid drains. Yes. Oh, and the PDA here. I don't know if we want to go this close to this hybrid, the terminal and the PDA. Oh boy. Okay, let's see what John will say. Let's go around the room. See if John will comment or contact Tia about any of this. Seems not, though. We'll take the glue. Let's check the PDA before the terminal, in case there's some relevant information regarding the terminal. Dr. Charlotte Williams, January 18th. Well, Francis, I still lie awake at night thinking of you. You haunt my dreams, my nightmares, and my fantasies. We found love, dear, even when we worked in Kane's Sydney lab, creating viral strains that could turn a human inside out. We loved and made love. Ours was a match made in heaven. We worked on only the most exciting viruses and pathogens. Our work together was a Mozart's requiem, a piece of perfection. My work now is a pale imitation of what it was once. Oh, Francis. How long ago was it now? It must be 10 years, but it feels like only yesterday. You were too sick to transfer to the Groom Lake when I did. You died just as I took up my post. But don't fret, my angel. I've begun concocting a way of bringing you back to life. I always called you my little Frankenstein, do you remember? Shredding the boundary between life and death was always your ultimate goal. Well now, with Project Seed entering its second phase, my plans can finally be put into practice. I wonder if she actually did have his DNA somehow and injected it into one of the pregnant women or into the vats, maybe? Where did they find all these head cases to work on this ship? Like, holy fuck. Their recruiters must be, given thumbs up. They were very good at, getting suitable people for this shit. March 20th. The laboratories are off limits between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., so that's when I work. Naturally, I prepare all of the calculations and machine settings in my quarters. I keep the subject under a false name in one of the pods. So far, not even Dr. Malan knows what I'm doing. Each major laboratory operation I perform takes no more than an hour, and I always erase the machine records at the end of each one. I'm using your DNA, my darling. Called it. With the enhanced regenerative abilities of the genetic material we've already synthesized for Seed, you will be reborn, but you'll be impervious to physical degeneration, immune to sickness and pain. I'll have done what you would have wanted and made you perfect, and when you step healthy, unblemished and reconstituted from your glass womb, you'll never leave me again. I mean, if he ate you, then potentially you could say that some parts of you, nutrient-wise, will be in him, or at least for a long time. May 23rd. Things have felt strange lately. My work continues, but I swear, darling Francis, that I can feel you watching me. I'm trying to work longer hours to complete the new and reborn you, but it's not easy. Marvin has already had a look at some of my work, I'm sure, as if he'd have any concept of what I'm trying to achieve anyway. Probably did and told someone. July 30th. I still wonder, my darling, why you cursed me as you died. You know it was an accident. I know you remember that. It wasn't murder. I've never committed a murder, not even when we tested that pathogen on those troublesome neighbors. It was an experiment. Sure. How are we to know they choked to death on their own innards? I suppose death was a possibility, but that's science. I fear for your continued life. I'm afraid Malan knows. Who else knows? Have they contaminated you? I will run extra tests to make sure your code is not flawed or altered in any way. I'm anxious. I've started scratching my arms badly. At this rate, I may end up looking like that leprous-toed backman. December 29th. Oh, my dearest Francis, I have failed you. Malan knows. He confronted me about it directly. He wants me to take you just like them. I cannot have you crawling on all fours like some dog in the street. The very idea offends me. I will protect you with my life. You will be reborn. I swear this on my life. I wonder if he was. Maybe this is Francis reborn. Or one of these here anyway. Or it could have been in the previous lab. Okay, let's go to the terminal. Birth reports. Okay, subject Lana. Host Tara McCormick, First Lieutenant, Marine Liaison. Subject observations. Rambunctious. Subject appears to have inherited her mother's powerful physical build and latent aggression. Lana has the makings of an excellent alpha female candidate. Recommendation: move Lana to a group cell as isolation appears to promote irritability. Subject Daryl. Host Willow Brody, Nurse Medical Deck. Observations: quiet but intelligent. Attempted to pick the lock on his cell yesterday but failed to escape. Excellent puzzle solving skills, and while not especially aggressive, has a strong build. A thinker clearly. Subject Frederick. Host Marie Maxwell, non-crew member caterer from Phobos. Observations: subject shows little of his mother's solid frame but is a superb hunter. Stalks and learns tactics by observing the others. Appears to be developing a strong tactical mind. And subject nay. Host Ellen Marichek's space tourist. Observations. One to watch. Cunning, extraordinarily fast and dangerous. Appears to prefer isolation as attempted pairings result in fatalities. Takes an alpha role easily. Dominates the other Novi. A definite candidate for Lana's mate. Oh, wow. I wonder what happened to Ellen herself, though, because if she was one of the pregnant women earlier, John undoubtedly would have recognized her, so I'm guessing she's not been anywhere here yet. Let's see what awaits John here. This doesn't promise good. What the fuck? Oh, okay. Maybe that's some sort of like a visual schematic thing, like scan hologram. Reminds me of Final Fantasy Spirits Within. Okay, plastic surgical curtains. The curtain marks the beginning of a private surgical bay, although close inspection reveals nothing of great interest. Mainframe computer hums with activity processing petabytes of essential body data. Surprisingly antiquated considering the surroundings, but then appearances can be deceiving. Hey, some things are just more reliable. There's a reason why, like, tape is still used actively to this day. Storage drives, a freestanding data hub made for pharmaceutical companies. There are coolant pipes here. When this much data needs processing, overheating is common. These machines must use a nitrogen-based coolant to keep the computer systems running smoothly. Probably. Terminals. An array of computer screens hangs above. The complex user rig is dormant and awaiting a trained medical technician. What would require such intense monitoring from this highly technical rig? Whatever's being done here, clearly. The glass wall, that observation wall, is stained top to bottom with an unpleasant array of sticky, dried substances. I wonder if we can get through that, or we'll have to get through that. Or something will come through that. That's also a possibility. Oh, this goes down here like this. Okay, monitors. Dark, only to be awakened when it is time for an operation. There's a PDA. There's also the... whatever this was called that had that one fetus in the other room where we found the defibrillator unit. Life support machinery charts the heartbeat of the wretch strapped to the table. Its pulse seems steady. And another PDA. Strapped down creature squirms in its medical restraints, great black eyes in a sunken grey face glare with malice. What do you expect when you treat them like this? I mean, they still have brains. Open power cell housings. The mechanical utility housing awaits a replacement power cell. The enclosure stands empty. Surgical laser, a new remotely operated surgical model and utterly lethal in the wrong hands. It could split steel just as easily as it does flesh. Well, this is getting interesting. Okay, I guess we'll check the PDAs.
Don't go any further. I'm warning you now.
Or not yet.
How could you do this?
I do with my children as I see fit.
It's barbaric.
Spare me the pity of the righteous. Your daughter owes her life to me.
What do you know about Rebecca?
ARG was good on this ship, Mr. Marichek. Cancer, HIV, Ebola. I eliminated them all. Her life is mine to do as I choose. Oh yes, I know about everything, Johnny boy. I know about your daughter and all about your wife. You are accountable.
jammed his signal, John. You need to hurry. We're close.
Okay, now I'm slightly suspicious of John as well. What twists await us still, I wonder. This is getting very interesting. And Malan has an interesting accent, I have to say. I can't really pin it down though, but interesting. Kinda like the sound of it, in a way. Okay, let's check this PDA. Malan's PDA! Wow, okay. This should be an interesting read, if nothing else. January 1st, the new year begins. The wheel turns and the Groomlake continues to lead the vanguard of scientific discovery for all of humankind. Yet I feel dissatisfied. Even as the peons who work under me celebrate the new year, I wonder, why? Why would you celebrate such an asinine concept as an outdated Gregorian calendar on a ship that's currently swimming through the depths of space? The reason is clear. Comfort. They fear the unknown, the alien, the impossible. I do not. I embrace the unforgiving cosmos with open arms. The problem with the research we do is the humans doing it, constrained as they are by conscience, remorse, and sometimes even fear. We try to grasp the infinite and give it a framework that ill fits its cosmic splendor. This is my 10th year as Special Projects Director for Kane Corporation. Despite my discoveries and quests for knowledge, I'm held back at every turn by paperwork, moralizing scientists, and that group of degenerate toadies that I sit on the board with. If I were rid of them, then my word would be God. My word, not the word of a corporation. Still, they have their uses. The research is funded by Kane and the Groomlake is kept running by the money and personnel they provide. But the time will come when all this changes. You mark my words. There's some sort of an input dial here among other things in this control panel. But none of it usable, it seems. Yeah, I can't really do that accent well because I can't really pin it even. Even then I probably couldn't, but I'll do an approximation. Yeah, I know my approximation and attempt at Malan's accent fails hard, but just to differentiate it a bit from my own remarks in this. March 19th. I'm inundated with emails from all departments about inconsistencies with storage and contaminated samples. This grand masquerade is sometimes more tedious than it's actually worth. Worst of all was Dr. Way and that technician, Miss Callister, is it? I'd normally make short work of such troublemakers, but it hardly seems worthwhile. Troublemakers must be allowed to make trouble because if they disappear, that legitimizes their claims, and somebody will always take up the fallen crusader's torch. Dr. Bachman's tendencies are becoming harder to restrain. I'm well aware of his shortcomings. The old man is as brilliant as he is deranged, yet manages to go about his work with a sociopathic glee. He's useful to have around. He has requested more bodies for seed, specifically more women who were recently pregnant. That is problematic, as we have very few such women on board and imports are not easy to come by. We may have to play this one under the radar. May 20th. That fool Dr. Gray complained yet again about his beloved insects becoming more aggressive as a result of the power outages. So what? Let them spill out onto the decks as far as I'm concerned. The importance of seed outranks the hydroponics project work by 1,000 to 1. I do like playing chess with Dr. Gray, of course. I win every time, a little fact he's unlikely to tell anyone, although he does seem quite happy to contact anyone who's interested with the opinion that he'd be the next best candidate for my job. Sebastian, you could not handle what I do. If you believe otherwise, then you're as great a fool as I imagine you to be. When the day that I foresee comes, your rotting corpse will be under my feet, and I will laugh. July 4th. Dr. Williams is still under the delusion that I don't know about her personal research. Officially, it's illegal for staff to conduct their own research, but this is interesting. Recreating her dead lover in the form of a hybrid? How fascinating. If it works, I'll make use of it. If it doesn't, then it'll burn with the rest of the rejects. The woman is obsessed, and I know that DeSantos is playing no small part in feeding her delusions. I know her secret research won't cause me any problems, or I would never have allowed her on Project Seed. Yeah, the drugs and DeSantos's behavior towards her probably didn't help with all the fucked up things going in her mind, probably all from the trauma of her husband dying or her killing him and maybe essentially snapping as a result. Hard to say what's the truth there, but based on what her PDA had. October 23rd. So, it seems contaminated waste from the corpse disposal overspill is contaminating the ship. It's causing fungal growths, or so my various drones tell me. The fungus is a riveting proposition though. While I'm angry at Dr. Bachman for terminating more subjects than strictly necessary, these unintended side effects are fascinating. I intimated as much to Dr. Gray and of course stroked his ego with hints at promotion and glory. He'll keep the fungus alive. The engineers want it destroyed, but I'm sure we can delay that. This experiment is becoming more engaging by the day, and I haven't even had to lift a finger. So while they clog up my inbox with demands and Rome burns, I plan to play the violin. We're more than secure here anyway, and this has a certain inevitability about it. I must record the daily developments as the experiment grows. Then November 30th. It is as I foresaw. Panic, destruction and mayhem, and yet Seed continues apace. Once the fervor and the flame dies down, we'll sweep the decks of detritus and repurpose all of it for my beautiful hybrid creations. No more growing plants for the good of mankind. God is no longer in the machine, my friends. I am God. What a surprise. Someone gets to create things and instantly thinks they're a god. My beautiful children have excelled themselves. They kill, they learn, they adapt. Oh yeah, December 25th, I think I missed that. A primal species without any of the trappings of morality. It's their time now. They almost came to be once many years ago, but were snuffed out by humanity, afraid of its natural successors. This systematic extermination was given a name, the Eugenics Wars. The public knew it as corporate warfare. In truth, it was a coordinated genocide. Humanity wasn't ready for Professor Guerin's astounding discovery and sought to destroy it. His work was not perfect, of course, that's where I came in. I spent most of my life as part of Kane trying to access Professor Guerin's original work. Old Man Kane pushed me to the top because we shared an ideal. The utilization of science for the perfection of humanity. Where we differed were the methods by which this was to be achieved. Not that he had much more to say after I held that pillow to his face as he lay in his hospital bed, all for a higher purpose. Creation of our species from raw subjects will become impossible now that the crew are dead, dying, or unclean. But that's hardly an issue. Any subjects who are flawed or imperfect have been turned into the fertilizer that will nurture the perfection of the surviving race. Now the challenge is moving the Groom Lake out of range of any other ships. No one can be allowed to escape this ship alive. Any good, strong survivors will become members of the new race. I am their creator. I control. I transcend. And the last entry of the Madman, February 2nd. DeSantos, I'm so very disappointed in you. A distress signal? I thought we were of one mind here in Seed. I'll castrate and destroy you for this betrayal. Your flawed body is hardly worthy of becoming one of my children, but for now, I must turn off this accursed signal. You cannot hide from me, Marvin, you drug-peddling little fuck. Well, he got under his skin, it seems, with that signal. Okay, wonder whose PDA this could be. Robert Lincoln. Yeah, we had heard this name earlier. July 23rd. I've been reassigned to investigate the disappearance and murder of 2 scientists in the employ of Dr. Malan. A strange matter, to be sure. I've been observing the movements of some of these eggheads, and I can't say I'm too impressed. Doesn't anybody around here record their comings or goings, or make any notes? There is no traditional organization in this department whatsoever. Project Seed answers to nobody, this I know, but I thought these scientific types always made notes. Not that I care about admin, but I very much care about finding out who's selling weapons-grade secrets. Industrial secrets are a matter of life and death, especially death, in this case. My investigation will be thorough, and no stone will be left unturned. The staff here are strange, and in fact I'd say lots of them are even crazy. But I couldn't care less about that, I just want names and answers. Okay, so he was some sort of an investigator. Was he hired by Kane? Basically as like internal security thing, or... Probably not though, because I'm pretty sure like Kane Corporation knew what was going on here. Even if Malan apparently killed Old Man Kane and all, but still. And had to fool the board. Well, we'll see. August 8th. I got this job because I get things done, not because of my warm and caring personality. At the moment, people are taking umbrage to my investigation, but security is a constant and essential part of shipboard life, especially when we're talking about industrial espionage. I'm not sure where the two missing scientists are, but it seems based on the modified records I've found that they were killed and ejected into space. Any other man would assume that these two were the criminals, but I don't buy that. As far as suspects go, I've ruled out Charlotte Williams and Marvin DeSantos. Charlotte because she doesn't know where she is half of the time, and DeSantos because he's just a smirking shit for brains. I'm confident that he's involved in drug dealing, and I will give him this. He is cautious, and acts like he's a real ladies' man. But I know the truth. I've seen him rejected repeatedly at the bar. So yeah, basically, he's, in addition to being complete douchebag and all, he's clearly of the type that essentially reinforces his own delusions and lies to himself. Like through his PDA entries, he's basically lying to himself how he's a ladies' man. At least that's the impression I remember getting from his PDA entries. So, yeah. Wow. Okay, September 3rd. Since July, I've had to operate under the pretense that I'm an assistant. It's lucky that in my career I had some emergency room experience. The only other person who knows about my true purpose here is Dr. Malan. He's been encouraging. He constantly supplies me with information that I require for my investigation, and at times is a little over-helpful. Still, he seems honest enough. For the record, I'm well aware of the kind of man Dr. Malan is. I've seen his experiments with my own eyes. I've seen what happens when the bodies are disposed of and the burning fires of the furnaces. But he does what's required to justify the means. There are few men in this world who will do what has to be done. For that, I admire him. Well, reminds me of Ash from Alien. Like, I admire its purity. He told me to watch over Dr. Williams's experiments. It seems they're unofficial, and although I prepared a report to Kane to have her removed from her position, Dr. Malan immediately overrode my request. I respect him, but to be honest, I don't like having my authority overruled. November 12th. Backman of all people was sniffing around today. It seems the old psychopath suddenly became curious. I asked Dr. Malan for further instructions, and he told me to incapacitate the old man. This I did. A shame I had to break the old guy's kneecaps. Honestly, I was hoping to slit his throat, but Dr. Malan insisted that he remain alive. Alive and in pain, but unable to move. So that's what happened why he woke up with both his legs in a cast. I'm revising my earlier opinion of that DeSantos character. I still think he's a pathetic little shit, but I now believe he was partly responsible for some of the stolen information. He strikes me as an amateur put up to this by an outside agent. I'll deal with DeSantos soon, but first I've got to monitor his movements. Make one move, pal, and I'll have you. December 17th and the last entry. Dr. Malan has earmarked me for one of his experiments. I know this because when I attempted to leave the ship to report to Kane Corp, I discovered that my access was restricted and blocked. I came back to my quarters and found Malan waiting here. He was waiting with two of those hellish critters that he's created. I'm not squeamish, but those things make me nauseous. I'm currently awaiting what he calls processing. I suppose at this stage I should make peace with God. I've killed many men in my life and I'll never say that I feel remorse for it, and I won't give Dr. Malan the satisfaction of hearing me pray for mercy. My last notes on this affair are that Dr. Malan himself is at the heart of the events on board the ship. I was blind to it. I refused to believe that he was capable of creating such devastation. I always thought that scientists liked control, but Malan breaks all the rules as far as science is concerned. The leaked information, the fungal growth, the missing scientists. I'm beginning to suspect he even knew that DeSantos was actually selling intelligence and may have fed him the information to sell. To what end, I don't know. Maybe to assure a place to continue his work after this ship goes down? Who knows? I suspect it was because DeSantos kept Backman drugged to the eyeballs with whatever powerful stimulants he happened to have so Backman could continue his work. I can hear the machines being turned on. I welcome my fate. At least I know that I did my job for Kane Corporation. But you didn't get to exit to report, so I'm guessing you never got to inform them of any of this. So, in a way, you didn't do your job. Okay, next I think is to check these cell housings and see what the hell are we supposed to do with this creature and what's going on here. But that, folks, is for the next episode. Thanks for watching, hope you have a great day and or night. See you next video.